Welcome back to the deep dive. I want you to picture the perfect driving day. Blue skies, great visibility, you can see for
All
miles.
right.
But those are often the days that hide this invisible force that can be the single most destabilizing thing you face on the road.
It really is an invisible punch, isn't it? We all prep for rain or fog, the visible stuff.
Of course.
But strong wind, especially a crosswind, can turn a beautiful, clear day into a real wrestling match with your steering wheel.
It's a genuine battle.
Yeah, so our listeners sent over a great stack of material on high wind safety, and our mission today is pretty clear. We need to pull out the practical, sometimes counterintuitive strategies that pro drivers use to stay in control.
And it's not just about being cautious, right? It's about making specific split-second adjustments.
Exactly. This is all about how wind can turn a simple drive into a fight, especially for, bigger vehicles, anything you're towing, or heaven forbid, if you're out there on a motorcycle.
So where do we start? What's the first line of defense?
It's all about real-time awareness. I mean, way before you even check a weather app. What are the signs right now, outside your car, telling you the wind is a genuine hazard?
I find I always notice the world outside first. I see the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just a light rustle. It's when you see big branches, whole bushes even, swaying consistently. That's my first alert.
That's a great point. And you mentioned debris earlier. The intensity of that debris is key.
What do you mean by intensity?
Whoa! Are you seeing a few leaves blowing around, or is it a constant stream of dust, grit, even small branches flying across the road?
Ah, okay.
If it's a steady stream, that tells you the wind is strong enough to affect your traction, not just push you around. And look at flags or banners. If they're flapping violently, that's a huge sign.
And then there are the sounds.
Yes.
At highway speeds, it's already noisy, but strong wind adds this sharp, almost whistling sound around the mirrors and windows.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different character of noise.
And that whistle is the sound of serious air pressure building up, which leads to the feedback you feel, through the car itself.
The steering resistance.
The steering resistance. If you find you're making these constant tiny corrections just to stay in your lane.
Like holding the wheel at a slight angle just to go straight.
Exactly. You are actively fighting a crosswind. And you should also watch for any sudden swaying or pulling. That's a gust hitting you.
And look at other cars. If you see a big truck or an RV struggling, swaying in their lane.
That's your cue. That is the environment telling you, okay, this is serious now. Pay attention.
The wind has leverage.
Mm.
So let's talk about the physics here just for a moment. How is this invisible force actually attacking the vehicle?
It attacks in a few ways. First, there's the most obvious one, lateral movement. That's the sustained push from a crosswind that makes you drift.
Okay, so that's the slow drift. How is that different from what people call unstable handling? I kind of use them interchangeably.
That's a common confusion. Lateral movement is that slow drift. Unstable handling is what happens when a sudden, sharp gust hits. It's an immediate shockwave. It makes the car feel wobbly, almost like you've hit a patch of ice for a split second.
It's that whip effect.
That's the whip effect, yeah. It demands a much faster reaction. And of course, all this can be happening while the wind is also kicking up dust or sand, so your visibility is shot at the same time.
A perfect storm of problems. So let's talk about which vehicles get hit the hardest. There's a sort of hierarchy of vulnerability, right?
There is. High-profile vehicles are at the top. Trucks, buses, RVs, they have that huge side surface area. They're basically giant sails.
But the sources brought up a really interesting point about weight that I think would surprise people.
Yes, most people think heavier is always more stable.
Right.
But an empty semi-truck or an empty box van can actually be more dangerous in high wind than a fully loaded one.
That feels completely backwards. Why is that?
It's all about inertia. The heavy cargo provides a massive downward force that helps the truck resist being pushed sideways. It acts like an anchor.
Okay.
Without that weight, the tall trailer is just a huge light box. It has very little mass to fight that side force. The wind can just shove it around.
So if you're driving an empty U-Haul, you need to be twice as careful.
At least. You have to treat moderate winds like they're severe. Then you've got the other end of the spectrum. Lightweight cars, motorcycles. They just don't have the mass to resist the force.
And then there's the ultimate problem amplifier.
Towing.
Oh,
Towing is a nightmare in the wind. You've added a huge sail plus a pivot point. That's where you get that terrifying trailer sway or fishtailing.
Okay, so we know the threats. Let's get into the playbook. What are the practical steps for that constant sideways push? What is the single most critical correction?
You have to gently steer into the wind.
Gently.
Gently is the key word. If the wind is hitting you from the right, you apply a small, steady amount of steering to the right. It's a constant pressure, not a sharp turn.
Because if you overcorrect, that's when things go wrong.
That's when you lose control. A gust dies down, you're still turned into it, and suddenly you're darting into the other lane.
And then you have to correct back, and you start that zigzagging.
You're just chasing the car. It's a negotiation. You have to feel it out.
Oh, let's talk speed, because that feels just as important as steering.
It absolutely is. The sources give some really clear numbers here. For moderate winds, say 20 to 30 miles per hour,
Yeah.
you want to reduce your speed by 5 to 10 miles an hour below the limit.
And for stronger winds, 30 plus.
At that point, you need to be at least 10 to 15 miles per hour below the limit, maybe more. Slowing down is the best tool you have. And of course, both hands on the wheel. Firm grip.
Now, what about cruise control? The advice is always to turn it off, but why exactly? What's the mechanism that makes it so dangerous?
Cruise control is built for one thing, maintaining speed. It has zero awareness of side forces.
Right.
So when a big gust hits you and slows the car down for a fraction of a second, what does cruise control do?
It accelerates.
It immediately hits the gas to get back to its set speed. And accelerating while a strong side force is pushing on your tires is, well, it's a perfect recipe for losing traction.
So you're introducing instability right when you need maximum stability.
Exactly. You need to be the one controlling the throttle, maybe even easing off a little when a big gust hits to let the car settle.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. How about driving around other cars, specifically those big trucks we mentioned?
Give them space. Lots of space. Their movements are going to be unpredictable, and when you pass one, you have to be ready for the wind shadow effect.
Right, that moment you pull out from behind them and suddenly you're not shielded anymore.
It feels like hitting a wall of air. You go from calm to full force wind in an instant. You have to anticipate it. Be ready to steer into the wind the second your front bumper clears their trailer.
You almost have to preload that steering input.
That's a good way to put it.
So let's talk about some special cases. Motorcycles. The risk there is just immense.
It is. And the advice is a bit counterintuitive. Riders need to maintain a firm but relaxed grip.
Relaxed. That seems impossible.
If you grip too tight, you fight the bike's natural tendency to correct itself. You have to let it move a little underneath you, use your body weight, and lean into the wind.
And I imagine gear helps. A windshield, fairings.
Anything to make you more streamlined. Tucking in, reducing your profile, it all helps.
Okay, and one last thing that I think people forget about. Parking.
Yes, the danger doesn't stop just because the car is stationary.
First rule has to be, don't park under anything that can fall on you. Trees, power lines.
Absolutely. But there's another great tip from the sources about positioning. If you can, park your car facing into the wind.
Facing it head on so it has less side surface to push against.
Precisely. It presents the smallest, most aerodynamic profile. Less stress on the vehicle and less chance of the wind catching a door when you open it. And always, always use the parking brake.
So to wrap up, let's just clarify the official warnings.
Yeah.
When should you just stop driving?
There are two main levels. A wind advisory is for sustained winds of 31 to 39 miles per hour. Driving is difficult.
Okay.
But a high wind warning, that's sustained winds of 40 miles per hour or more. At that point, travel is genuinely hazardous.
And the bottom line for the material is if those sustained winds are over 40, just pull over, find a safe spot. It's not worth it.
Absolutely not. So the three pillars are anticipation, control, and knowing when to stop. You have to be aware, manage your steering and speed, and have the wisdom to just wait it out when it's too dangerous.
And that constant need for control leads us to our final thought. All of that steering, that focus, that physical effort, it's exhausting.
It is. The sources call it wind-induced fatigue. It sets in so much faster than on a calm day.
You're just draining your mental and physical batteries at a much higher rate.
You're hyper-focused. You're tense. You don't even realize how tired you're getting.
So that leaves a final question for you. When you're planning a trip in bad weather, are you factoring in that accelerated fatigue? Or are you just waiting until your arms ache and your focus starts to slip before you even think about taking a break? Maybe a planned rest stop isn't just a luxury on a windy day. Maybe it's a critical part of your safety strategy. Be safe out there.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.